Hey scumbags, Andrew Fantasia here, and I'm coming with a very quick flying casual for you today because something came out in the news a couple days ago, and at first I thought, very little of it because it's such a small, almost non-story, but then I thought, well, there might be something there to talk about, so let's casually fly together and talk about this. And this topic is in regards to Keri Russell's comments on the Stephen Colbert show. Now, if you've been keeping score, if you've been keeping track of everything Episode 9 related, which you probably are because you're tuned in to this wonderful channel, Keri Russell was on the Stephen Colbert show, and he was trying to pump some information out of her regarding Episode 9, but she was tight-lipped because that's how they roll with Lucasfilm these days. But she did have one nugget of little info to give us. Keri Russell did mention her character's physical appearance, saying, quote, "I do have the coolest costume, I will say that." That's all we were able to get out of Keri. And like I said, initially I thought this was just kind of a non-story, so I didn't really roll with it too deep. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, hey, there's something potentially substantial here. So Keri apparently has the coolest costume. Now let's assume for a second that Keri is not biased in any means, and she is legitimately expressing the fact that, hey, you know what? Even though I'm the one playing her, I still think she is the coolest looking character in the story. So what might that mean about her character? What kind of outfit would she have? Well, typically, when it comes to Star Wars characters, a costume being cool looking usually has something to do with a full body suit, armor, helmet, that kind of thing. Personally, I think Rey's costume is one of the coolest costumes, not just in Star Wars, but in cinema. But that's just me. Mainstream, though, when you're talking cool costumes in Star Wars, you're talking like an action figure kind of thing, okay? What comes to mind? Vader, Boba Fett, Phasma, Enfys Nest, those kind of things. Those are cool costumes. So, with that in mind, what do we think Keri Russell was talking about here? Well, I have a small theory. Now, I don't know how true these rumors are, but there are lots of rumors floating around out there from many different sources that the First Order is going to have a new sort of battalion of elite stormtroopers who follow Kylo Ren around, and these stormtroopers will wear red armor. Now, I don't think that's ever been confirmed or denied by Lucasfilm. It's just something that's been tossed around by spies and fans and whatnot. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this idea. I don't think it's bad. I'm like, if I see a red stormtrooper walking next to Kylo, I'll be like, okay, cool, a red stormtrooper. I just think it's a bit too similar to the Praetorian Guards that we just had, which in turn were a very similar breed to the Emperor's Royal Guards. Like, it's just too much the same for me. If Kylo Ren struts down a hall in Episode 9 and he's got a bunch of red stormtroopers behind him, I'll be like, well, we just saw that in Episode 8. Like, we just saw Snoke and his homies, like a sea of red backing up this one dude who's their leader. Like, it's just too similar for me. I won't hate it. If it happens, I won't be like, this sucks, Episode 9's garbage. But personally, if I was, calling the shots, if they were like, Andrew, design Kylo Ren's bodyguards, I wouldn't go with a bunch of red armored dudes again, because we just had that. But regardless, if this is the case, if we really are getting red elite stormtroopers for the First Order, maybe, just maybe, I think Keri Russell might be the leader of these stormtroopers. She might be the red Phasma, if you will. Here's the thing. We know from other parts of canon that the First Order has different colored stormtroopers besides just white and silver. Phasma is not the only unique-looking trooper in the bunch. We know from Star Wars Resistance that there is a gold version of Phasma's outfit worn by a guy named Commander Pyre. And we know from the Phasma novel that came out about 3 years or so ago now, that there is a red stormtrooper already present by the name of Cardinal. Now, Cardinal, spoilers for the Phasma book, a Cardinal was tied up and sort of interrogated by a resistance officer named Vi Marati. And at the end of that book, Vi Marati basically convinced Cardinal, look, the First Order is garbage, they're doing bad stuff, cut it out, come with me, join the resistance. And Cardinal was like, okay. So he joined her. So there is, in established canon, at least one red First Order stormtrooper, high-ranking officer who existed at one point and then left the First Order at some point, I'm assuming before The Force Awakens. I think this part of the Phasma book takes place before episode 7. So since this has already been established in canon, here I think is a golden opportunity for the movies to start doing what they promised they would be doing back in 2012, is tie the canon all together and make it cohesive. And all they would need is a line of dialogue to do so. So let's say Keri Russel is in fact the leader of these red First Order troopers. All we would need is somebody at some point to talk to her character and bring up the fact that, in just a passing line of dialogue, like when Lando Calrissian mentions the Battle of Tanab, just like a flippant line of dialogue, somebody could say to Keri Russel, blah, 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 because after all, you are Cardinal's replacement. Or something like that, You stepped into Cardinal's shoes and you filled those shoes. Something that makes it clear that there was somebody else named Cardinal who was doing this job, and now she took over. And there you go. You've got a cool-looking character. You've got a spot for Keri Russel to be badass. You've got a replacement for Phasma, because I'm assuming she's dead. But now you have this other cool new trooper to sort of take that spot. And you're tying in some juicy little bits of canon. That, my friends, is a win-win-win-win. So if this is the case, then you know what? Yeah, I can get on board with having red Stormtroopers, even though it is very similar to the Praetorian Guards. That would make for an interesting little chunk of juicy goodness in Star Wars Episode 9. And let's be real, these new actors who are coming on board, these Naomi Ackies and Keri Russels and Richard E. Grants and so on and so forth, I imagine they can't have the grandest, largest of roles because there's so much else to focus on. We can't just suddenly thrust one of these people into a giant main, big beefy role. So it makes more sense for somebody like Keri Russel to step into the shoes of a character like Phasma, a character who is great and awesome, and we're going to run out and buy the toy as soon as we can, but who doesn't really, take to the forefront of things, who can still stand off to the side and let the story be about Kylo and Rey and Finn and BB-8 and Crix Madine, because that's what's important. So that is the theory that I've got floating around right now regarding Keri Russel and this so-called cool costume that she is going to wear. But what do you guys think? Let me know, scumbags. Tell me what you think about Keri Russel's comments. Tell me what you think about this theory of her replacing Cardinal and, in the process, mentioning Cardinal to tie in some continuity here. Give us some of that goodness we've been craving as canon junkies. Let us know in the comments below. This has been Flying Casual. I'm Andrew Fantasia. I'll see you here again, scumbags. Until then, may the force of others be with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.